We are all familiar about the utility of this great item, Bonemeal. It gives us a wide variety of applications, like white dye, that allows us for other light colored dyes. It allows us to harvest normal crops faster, trees, food, and other stuff like flowers, moss, etc. Now, through the story of the game, we have had many sources of Bonemeal. Some of which I remember are these two. For example, killing skeletons. Later on in the game they added fossils, so we have these bone blocks. Now, something that totally changed the game were these, the composters, where we can add some green mass, and this will fill up, and later it will produce bone meal. Pretty much everything consisting of a plant is applicable to compost. So the easiest way to do this is placing a hopper over the composter, add some plants, and this will compost and eventually form bone meal. Another hopper will collect it. And if we solve the problem of producing these plants, we will have an automatic bone meal farm. Now, something further improved the obtaining of bone meal when this was added, the moss block. Which, if we place near some blocks like stone, grass blocks or dirt, this one was able to spread. We just add some bone meal and see the magic happen. As long as the original moss block has nothing on the block just on top, this may continue spreading. This one doesn't necessarily have to be just over the blocks it's supposed to convert. 2 blocks above, or even 4, and it still works. Now all we have to do is take all this green matter, feed it into a composter, and you will see it will produce more bone meal. The funny thing is that all the moss blocks produced by one single bone meal, when added to a composter, will actually produce more bone meal. It is required to produce it. So we can use many blocks to feed it, but I really recommend using stone. Because we can use a stone generator, like this section right here. And if we place another one at the other side, we can renew this platform over and over again. Now we just need a water current to collect all the vegetation produced. So we have built this module over here, where you can see a dispenser feeding this moss block with bone meal. And we have all this chain production, where the moss block is fed with bone meal, it produces vegetation, then it is collected and goes over this water stream over here. Finally, the items are going to arrive over these hoppers here. They will be fed over these composters, and bone meal is collected over here. The central controller of this machine is this redstone clock. We just flick the lever and see it happen. You're going to see the observer going here, breaking this block, then feeding the moss block, and producing all the vegetation. You're going to see this machine work cyclically, doing this over and over again. And you see the generators, where the pistons just continue to push over and over again the stone. That way breaking the moss blocks. Then the water stream collects it, it goes over the chain transport, and it all hits this chest, which is not a complete block, which aligns them over these hoppers, and they get absorbed. Here you see the hoppers filling up, and they start to compost all the material. Then this dropper delivers all the bone meal over this water column. After ascending, you see this bone meal going over this lane here. These hoppers are just going to absorb just the necessary bone meal to feed the dispensers, and the excedent is going to the end. Here you can see the storage system. Now, a second function I added to this machine is here. You can turn the lever, flick it, and the piston goes down. As you can see, the hoppers are powered and they do not get absorbed. They get absorbed to the second section over here. That way you store directly the vegetation produced. And there. Here you can see carpets, seeds, azalea bushes, flowering azalea bushes, and the moss blocks. Actually, there's going to be a lot of them. In order to test the production, some tests. The first one, we use 3 stacks of bone meal. Presents 192 bone meal, so we're going to see how many of each of the blocks were produced. Here you can see the 3 stacks of bone meal, and what was produced was this. You're going to see a large part are actually moss carpets. In this case, 192 of bone meal produced 651 carpets, 210 seeds, 181 azalea bushes, and 122 flowering azalea bushes. And you can see here an additional 3,284 moss blocks. Each of these separate quantities were composted and saw how many bone meal each of them produced. You can see the seeds produced 10 bone meal, the carpet produced 32, azalea bushes produced 18, flowering azalea bushes 16, and the moss blocks produced 324, making a total of 382 bone meal. And the second test performed was our famous 20-minute test. What this machine absorbed were these over 8 stacks of bone meal, giving a total of 531. And letting the machine produce for 20 minutes, including this feedback, the net production was this. So this is not including what was absorbed to feed the dispensers. The net production was 578 bone meal. And the other modality for this, where we obtained 1,890 carpets, 1,662 seeds, 1,644 azalea bushes, and 873 flowering azalea. And the total of moss blocks was 9,407, which represents almost 3 double chests. Here in this table you can see the results, including our 20-minute test, and the projection over what should be the quantities of this machine for 1 hour. So now let's go to a tutorial and see how it is built. You are going to need a space of 33 by 20 by 13 of height. And the materials that will be needed for this are the next. Some construction blocks, some glass. This can be others, but I like to use glass so you can see the entire machine through. You're going to need some trapdoors, some chests, some redstone components, some bone meal to start over, moss blocks to start the production, and to place on item frames so you can label the storage system. And of course you're going to need some water, our tools, some lava buckets, the first thing you come to a corner and leave a space of 6 blocks, where we're going to place our first chests, the double chest. So here we place 7 of them, leaving a block of space and another double chest. This one is for the carpets. And just over them we place another row of double chests. At this point we can already place our item frames, and on each of them we place the items we're going to store on every one. I chose this order, leaving the moss blocks to the end. Now we come up here, we place the ice track, and now with the hoppers we start to place them over here. The first one are going to be at the height of the ice blocks. Now we place them against the scaffolds and to the back part of each of these double chests. You can take this off. Now we extend some of this with back ties. We come to this top part and place a sticky piston facing up. Here goes a double slab. Over this we place redstone. Now just over here we place a row of 5 composers. Just over them we place a hopper that are going to feed them. Redstone lamp. Here we place a torch. And just at the side we're going to place the blocks. Just over this we're going to place a row of redstone dust. You're going to see that the piston raises automatically. Just under the redstone lamp we place a lever, and this is the control. Now we come to this space over here where the composter starts. We place a dropper, glass, packed ties. Over here a block, comparator, a sticky piston raising up, and an observer facing this direction and another one in the other direction. Now we continue with the back ties just over the observer. And we're going to continue on this direction 25 blocks. Just over here, you're going to see just a block remaining. Under the composter, we're going to place 5 hoppers, feeding the dropper. We're going to make this figure over here. Now let's do for the rest of them. On this part, we place the repeaters, feeding this block. Behind the repeaters, we're going to place another block. Now we come up here, and against this block we're going to take signal with comparators. And over these remaining blocks, redstone dust. Over this bottom part, we're going to place the torches to block the hoppers. And finally, we're going to program the filters. We place 2 of the items we want. And now we use the filler items, which we just need 21, like this one, 1, 1, 1, 18. And we do the same with the rest of them. That way the filters are programmed. Just over the hoppers we're going to place a row of glass panes. And just over this part, the first block, we're going to place a chest. Now we continue with the glass pane wall. Now we go over the back ties, and we're going to make another line of glass blocks. Now if we come over under here, we're going to make a platform of 8 by 24. And now we complete the platform. Now we come to the top part, and to close up the circuit, we're going to build this wall of glass to the end. Just behind this observer, we're going to make a line of glass blocks, just over this third chest. And now we go on this direction with 21 more slabs, 2 blocks before the ending of the platform. Now we come 4 slabs over this direction, and do the same with another 21 slabs over here. Just on this part, we're going to place redstone. On the start of the turn, we're going to place 5 target blocks. We're going to connect it with redstone dust. And over here, repeater, 2 redstone dust. Place the 5 that are going to connect the next section. And just on the sides, we're going to place another target blocks. And again, repeater, 2 redstone dust, 5 redstone dust, and then the target blocks for the last section. Now we're going to do the same on the other side. First we come here under, and we're going to place a repeater facing the packed ice. And we're going to do a line of redstone dust to the corner. Remember that here we're going to place 5 target blocks, and we're going to repeat the pattern. Repeater, 2 redstone dust, then 5 redstone dust, and here we're going to place the target blocks. Repeater, redstone dust, to the end, and the remaining 5 target blocks. Now, just on the front of the target blocks, we're going to place normal pistons, and the 6 sections. Now we're going to take the stairs, and just over the turret blocks, we're going to make the next figures, with a bent stair and the streams. Just over the stairs, we're going to place, facing on this direction, normal pistons. Just before the piston starts, we're going to place these observers facing down. And behind the pistons, we're going to place these 5 blocks. A redstone line over the 6 blocks. And the same with the 6 sections. Now with glass we're going to close up the sides. At this point we can take our water buckets and fill up the stairs. So here you can see the stairs, we just need to place water on block 1, 3, 2 will duplicate, we place it at 5, and the 4 will duplicate, and again with the sections. That way we have water, and now we come here, raise up this wall 2 blocks, over here, just over the borders, and over the pistons. Now we come here. With glass, and do this figure over here. In the central block, I rest stained glass. Just over this red glass, we're going to build this wall of normal glass, 2 blocks high. Now we come over here, we are going to raise these glass walls 2 blocks more. In this part we're going to do this figure over here. Of course leaving the central part with red glass, just for signaling. And down here you're going to see this space, 5 blocks wide, where the stoneware is going to get into the system. Now we come here and we're going to place a trapdoor just before the chest, and a block of water here. Now a trapdoor on the top side, and now we come here behind this block, and on the first filter we're going to place another trapdoor. And here another water bucket. And again a trapdoor. The water should flow only for 2 blocks in order to limit the speed. Just over this part we're going to close up the circuit with red glass. Now we come to this top and we're going to place solid blocks. 7 blocks wide, in an L shape. The central block are going to be red, for example this granite, and we continue this section. And again with the other 2 sections. So we're going to replace this central block and again mark it with red. And just under these blocks we're going to place trapdoors, facing on this way. This is in order to block the water. So we do the same with the 3 sections. And now just under the trapdoors we're going to make a line of blocks, like this. Now, just under here, we're going to place a block. Powering this block, we're going to place an observer on this direction. So let's take off the scaffold. Here we build this small platform, 6x2, in order to build a redstone clock. So just in front of the observer, and on the other corner, redstone dust. Block, block. Now facing this way, we're going to place sticky pistons. Just in the middle part, we're going to place the hoppers, one seeing another one, and taking the signal on both hoppers, comparators. In the center, we're going to place a redstone block. Over the hoppers, we place these blocks. Redstone dust, just on the top, and a lever. Now, feeding the hopper, we're going to place 5 items. Now we raise over the stone generators, and on the central block, we place the lava bucket, just over the pistons. Let's do the same thing with the other 5 sections. Now we flick the lever, and we're going to see the redstone dust start to work. You can see here the stone is going to be pushed inside the system. On this part you're going to see the lava is now flowing 5 blocks wide. Now the next thing, just over the lava we're going to place these glass panes. In order for not to fall in, and in the middle of this section we're going to place an additional glass panes. When we see that the stone platform is already complete, we can turn off the redstone clock. Come to the additional glass and come over here. Just behind the trapdoors we're going to close off with a glass wall, including the central red one, like this. Now let's close off this part, leaving here an opening. And it looks like this, with this canal over here. Now we come to a model, closing the trapdoors, and we're going to dupe the water the same way we did before. Now we come to this part, remove the block, and place a water block over here, for the items to be dragged away. At this point we're going to come here and start enabling our central item transport system. Dice track, a trapdoor, a block of water, and we're going to do the same with the other 2 sections. Come to the side. Trapdoor, water. You're going to see that the water flows onto this part here. Now we take redstone dust and come to these L shapes over here. Just over the trapdoors. And just over here, where you can see the repeater on the bottom side, we're also going to place a repeater and do the L shapes. Now we come to a corner and place a block here. One to the side, then break the first one. This is just to place the redstone torch here. And you can see the L's activating. Now we come to a redstone clock. Place 2 blocks here. Now let's go up and do this scaffold structure over here. You're going to see why. Let's take our slabs and then a zigzag pattern over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now your gear is set up with redstone dust. Over here, we come to the top, extend it, and place another slabs over here. Go in these directions. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just going over here, we're going to head over this direction. Also we're using slabs. And here you're going to remember we use red blocks to mark the center. So here we come this direction. And we continue with the line to feed up all the models. Just over here we're going to place a sticky piston just before the corner. Here a redstone block. Redstone dust over here. And on the second block a repeater. Now we take redstone dust, go over here, and just parallel to the repeaters down, we're going to place repeaters also. There, now we come just under and place a sticky piston facing down. But of course, placing it on the hitbox of the redstone dust. This is going to stand automatically. Now, facing this direction to the trapdoors, we place an observer. Just under it, we're going to place a moss block. Now use some scaffolds over here. And facing the moss block, we're going to place a dispenser. Now here a dropper, facing down. We come to the top. Over it we place redstone dust. Just on the face, a hopper. Over this another hopper. And we're going to repeat this figure. Now, just inside the dispenser, we're going to place a stack of Bonemeal, just to start off the machine. Now we just come over here, over the dropper that is being fed the Bonemeal, and place a soul sand. Now take the trapdoors. And we're going to continue to make a tower. Over this side, about this height. Now let's flick the levers over here. And instead of this trapdoor, we're going to replace it with glass. These two blocks here. So the redstone doesn't activate them. Just two blocks. Now flick these trapdoors, remove this one. And we're going to place this over the top half in front of this dropper. Now let's close it off here, making this small box. Let's continue to build the other sides with trapdoors. And we're going to replace this block also and place a glass. Now let's do the same with the other two sides. So you're going to see this tube, like this one. Become these hoppers, and over this sides we're going to place back ties. Till this extreme you can see over here. Now we're going to continue with the track on this direction. And now we connect it with the tube. Going over this corner. So now let's complete this part over here. Closing out the trapdoors. Now place a scaffold, a trapdoor over here, so the items don't fly over. Here we place a block, and just over here we're going to place water and let it flow down. Now here we place scaffold, and with some more trapdoors we're going to close this route to contain the water. Over this side we're going to place a trapdoor also, and here a chest. So the bonemeal, when they come over, they're going to be aligned for the hoppers to collect them. Now with our glass panes we're going to make this wall over here, starting over the chest and going over the hoppers. We go to the extreme and make this curve over here, so that the items can go over. And you're going to see this reaches the trapdoor. And remove the block. We're going to see water flow. Just on the side of the piston we're going to place this trapdoor, and on the next block we're going to place a water bucket. And here we're going to build another tube just using glass pane. You can see here, and this is where all the items are going to drop. So we go here and go all the way down here. Now we're going to place the storage system with this yellow chest placed over here. And you can design this storage system the way you want. I just wanted to keep it simple. With a double chest. And now on the backside we're going to place hoppers. At this side, in front of this redstone block, we're going to place another block here. And under it, a slab. This is going to receive a signal. And now we take this L shape, this curve over here, with slabs. We complete the platform. Now on the top part we're going to place redstone dust here, where the signal is going to receive a repeater. On the fourth position, redstone dust, here a comparator, redstone dust. Now this is going to feed the block with a torch. Here we place two repeaters. The first one on the first delay, and the second one on the second delay, redstone dust. And finally on this block on the side, we're going to place a wooden button. The under part, over the soul sand, we're going to take the kelp, place it here. And now we just continue to build the column. So now we can flick this trapdoor and continue to make this column. Like this, holding shift, till we go to the top. So we come down again and break down the kelp. What this is going to do is going to transform the column of flowing water into water-source blocks. Now we collect all the kelp. And we have to clean it up or it's going to interfere with the system. We can actually throw this over the water stream. And this is going to be the first test where the kelp is going to be composted. The system works. And finally, that's going to turn it on. We have a modality to produce bone meal, so we come to a redstone clock, flick the lever, and let's see how it works. Here you can see the moss blocks are going to be produced. Now we see all the items go to the transport system and they come to the composters. You're going to see that slowly these hoppers are going to be filled up. Now we come to the upper part and you're going to see that the bone meal is going to be produced and they come to this line over here. But this model is empty, so it's going to absorb all the items. Until it is filled up, the extent is going to continue. For example, here you're going to see this one is filled up and all the bone meals continue to the other module. When this one fills up, it's going to continue to the third one. When your farm is first turned on, you're going to see that in the first steps we have to come to this first model, take manually some bone meal and feed it into a second one. Until 3 of them are filled up and then the machine becomes independent. And finally, when the 3 modules are filled up, the excedent bone meal is going to continue to the storage system. Like this. And slowly the bone meal is going to accumulate. Here you can see the hoppers are already filled up. They're saturated. But believe me, they will be enough to absorb all the items. And finally we can see also the machine produces all the moss blocks. So they're not composted and they're headed towards the sorting system. So here you can see the composters are blocked by this redstone signal, but the moss blocks come to a sorting system and stored adequately. And here, as you can see, this is the sorting system and they are actually stored: the carpets, the seeds, the salea bushes and the moss blocks. So as the items come, the first chest of moss blocks is going to be saturated, filled up, and it is going to continue to other storage modules. This has been Big Brother 161, and the next time tell me how this machine turned out to be. No matter how much times I try, I always have leftover items.